Welcome to my third video of my Ramadan series. I'm so excited to share that I'm actually not going to show you guys how to make something traditional, but something that I started having like last year around Ramadan time. Stay tuned and watch me make Falafel Pita Sandwiches. Not only are they delicious, but they're super fulfilling. Before you forget, stay tuned at the end of my video to learn a little fun fact about Ramadan. This process takes a little while, but it's worth it. I start off with the bowl and garbanzo beans, as you can see, and I put in about 2 cups of garbanzo beans. I'm then adding about 3 glasses of water, and you'll see that I don't have a specific measurement for it because as long as it's soaked and it's covered in a lot of water, then it should be fine. The reason why it has to be a lot of water is because the chickpeas expand. I keep this on the counter overnight covered. The next day when I do take it out, I strain it and you'll see that the chickpeas are now more of a yellow color, and now they also expanded as well. As you can see, I'm going to keep that aside and let it dry out while I start cutting my ingredients. I cut about 1 onion, and you'll see that I cut it into little cubes, or I dice the onions. Once I do dice and cut them up, I then put it into a little bowl, as you can see right here. I then grab my mint, and this is optional. I don't know if people put fresh mint in it, but I like to, so I grab about 1/2 cup of fresh mint. I then grab my parsley, and you can see that I have curly parsley, but that's because that's what I had in the fridge, but usually you can use Italian parsley as well. I also cut that up, and that's also 1/2 cup of minced parsley. I then add my cilantro in, and that's also about 1/2 cup. I make sure to mince it up very well, and then I add it to the bowl where I have my minced parsley. Lastly, I also add some fresh dill, which is also about 1/2 cup. You don't have to add this many herbs, you can choose which herbs you want. I just like the flavors of these. Once I do that, I grab my chickpeas, and then I also grab a little food processor. Now you'll see that I don't add in all of my chickpeas, I actually start by 1/2 of them. The reason why I do that is because I don't want to overcrowd my blender. Once I do grab the processor, I grab my onions and I put that in. I then also grab my chopped parsley and cilantro, and then I grab my dill as well. And then also I grab my mint. And don't worry, I'm going to do the same thing for the other batch of chickpeas that I didn't blend yet. Now for the spices, I add in 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of coriander, 1 teaspoon of salt. I show 1 teaspoon of salt here, but I actually ended up adding 2 teaspoons of salt. 1 teaspoon garlic paste, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Yes, you heard me right, baking soda. I then blend it into a little crumbly paste. You're gonna see that it's not a paste all the way, but it's just enough for me to form little balls. I do the same thing for 1/2 of the chickpeas that I had, and you see that I blended in. I didn't show you guys because I just did it right now for the first batch. I then cover it with a plastic wrap just like this, and I put it in the fridge for 2 hours. While that's in the fridge for 2 hours, in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to make my tzatziki sauce. So you'll see that I'm grating 2 cucumbers, and then once I do grate it, I use a cheesecloth and literally squeeze out the juice because you don't need the excess juice. You can use the juice for whatever you want, or you can discard it. I then take the squeezed cucumber and then I keep that in my container. And now to speed up the process, I always use my food processor because then I don't have to cut everything. I use half a cup of fresh dill, half a cup of mint, half a cup of cilantro, and half a cup of fresh parsley. I press the food processor about 3 times or until it all minces together. I then add it to the container where my dried cucumbers are. I then add about 1 cup of Greek yogurt and then half a cup of mayonnaise. Then I started mixing together, and you don't have to, you can mix it at the end, I just wanted to. And then I add in 2 teaspoons of garlic paste. I then also add half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt. You can use any, I just always have Himalayan salt in my house. And then I also add 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And then I also add half a teaspoon of vinegar. After I do mix that together, I also add in about 1 teaspoon of sugar, and you don't have to, I just do that because the vinegar and lemon juice is a little strong. So that's why I add in the sugar to kind of mild down the flavor. I also then add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and I mix everything together. So while the chickpeas are in the fridge, after I mix this in, I also put this in the fridge as well. The next thing that I do while those two are in the fridge is that I cut up a little salad. I cut up 2 little English cucumbers and I make them into little cubes, as you can see. I then cut half a tomato, and you can see that I dice it up. You can add more tomato if you want. I'm not a big fan of tomato, so I don't add it. I then add half a red bell pepper, and you can add any bell pepper you want. I just like the taste of a red bell pepper with this, so then I add that into a little bowl as well. And then lastly, I take half a pink onion, and you don't have to. You can take any type of onion that you want, that you like. I then put all of this into a bowl, as you can see, and then I also add about half a teaspoon of salt. I then also add this raduni oil, mustard oil that most Bengali people know it as, and then I also add 1.5 teaspoon of that, and then half a teaspoon of black pepper. I then mix it all together, and look how pretty the colors look. I then cover it, and I also put that in the fridge. After about 2 hours, because I know I'm going to deep fry my falafel mixture, I start preparing my pot that I know I'm going to fry my falafel in. I heat that up on medium high, and while that's heating up, I grab my falafel mixture and then I start forming it into the little ball form. I slowly start rolling it into a little ball using my fingers and my palms, and then I add it into a little platter. Altogether, the amount of falafels that I made were about 18. That's because I made some of them bigger than others. I'm pretty sure it could have been about 22 falafel balls. I then get back to my oil and then I start adding in a few falafels. Depending on the size of your pan, you can add as much as you want, but I personally started off with 8 because I just wanted to see how it would fry first in smaller batches. While that's frying, I grab my pita bread and I heat that up for about 2 minutes in my toaster, and once I do heat it up, I start adding in my sauce and my salad. Once I do that, I come back to the pot and I see the first batch of falafel already done. Because it is on medium-high heat, it finishes frying within 7 minutes. Depending on what type of pot you have, it may be longer. Just make sure you take it out when it turns a golden brown. After I set up the pita sandwiches, which I didn't show, you'll see that I bring up the second batch closer to the camera to see the nice golden brown. Now we can finally enjoy.
We're finally done, and I hope everyone's Ramadan is going well. And for those of you that Ramadan doesn't apply to, I still hope you guys enjoyed this as well because it's super delicious, it's crispy, it's crunchy, and not only that, you can also bake it as opposed to frying it. Anyways, for my little fun fact about Ramadan is that actually around the world, Ramadan happens at different times. What I mean by that is some countries will fast for 16 hours, some will fast for 21 hours. See the picture over here, which I got from Google. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.